fewer British people have returned to work than in any other major European country. And research released just today shows that 34% of people are back in the office compared to 75% of workers in Germany, France and Spain. So a big difference.
Well, a lot of people, as a result of all of this, are calling for an end now to the furlough scheme, something the CEO of Pimlico Plumbers, Charlie Mullins, is in favour of. We're going to talk to Charlie, and also we're going to be talking to consultant Kirsty Hulse to discuss the scheme. And Kirsty's a big fan of remote working practices. But I'll ask you both, first of all, when it comes, Charlie, to furlough, has it had its day? Is it time to pull the plug on furlough?
Undoubtedly. To get people back into the workplace, we need to end it as quick as possible and get them back into the workplace. The obvious ones that have got to be on it, I think we need to start a new scheme on it, but let's not kid anyone. Majority of people now are in a position to be able to go back to work, but unfortunately, they don't want to go back to work.
Right, so only a third are doing so.
That's right.
Are you saying, basically, Charlie, that furlough is too attractive, too generous, too tempting to stay at home?
All of them bits, I mean, you know, if you're paying anybody to sit at home and do nothing, then that's what they're gonna do. And the problem is, you know, most people's workplace is too far from the beach for them. So we need to end it. It's had its day. It's done what it needed to do at the time. We now need to move on, get the economy going, get people back into the workplace, and stop this stupid culture of people thinking that they can sit at home and just be paid for it.
Kirsty, let's bring you in. You ran a management company. You had 70 staff. You ran the whole thing remotely, no offices. And you've even written a book called The Future is Freelance. So you're a believer in working from home. Do you think the furlough scheme should continue? And for how long can we afford for it to continue?
Yeah, I think I run a marketing company and we were all remote, we all work from home. And I think the distinction here is people who are on furlough, they're not working. But at the same time, there's lots of people who are working from home and who are getting their jobs done. So I think for me, what we're in a situation now that presents a really nice opportunity for us to allow people to have a choice as to what works best for them. And I think Charlie and I definitely agree, like we need to get the economy moving, we need to get people back at work, but we don't need to necessarily do that in the exact same way we've historically been doing it.
But why then, Charlie, Kirsty believes working from home can be part of the solution, can be an answer. Are you not a fan of working from home?
Well, no, look, let's not kid anybody, Kirsty. That's fine for a minority of people, but it won't necessarily be the right thing for a majority of people. And you've got to remember that, you know, to get things going, we need to get in a taxi. We need to buy a coffee. We need to sort of go in shops and bars and pubs, and that's not going to happen at home. I think it's very selfish that some people are working at home and couldn't care less about nobody else or the economy. And I'm going to go back to what I'm saying. It may suit a minority of people, and all of them keep coming up with it's more productive. Well, they're not going to say anything different, are they? But I believe that it's going to become counterproductive because there's so many distractions at home. You know, you've got the school run, let's go and have a coffee, let's meet up with friends, let's go down the pub, let's watch telly, let's do a bit of sunbathing, let's do a bit of shopping. And you know, people are sitting about in their pyjamas, and I don't think they're going to be motivated enough to really, you know, to say that they're doing a proper day's work. But obviously there's going to be some people that will be, but let's not kid anybody. I don't believe that it's the way forward.
And Kirsty, how do you think people, you know, people say that they believe I think 65% of people think they are more productive at home than they are in the office. They have no distractions.
But Charlie's painting out what real life and real temptations are there, Kirsty.
Yeah, of course. And I think for me, it's very, very subjective. For sure, some people are more productive in office spaces. But why wouldn't we allow someone to do the school run, to pick up their kids? Why wouldn't we allow that? Because when people are happy, when people feel trusted, when adult teams are treated like adults, we're going to be more loyal. And it's very sector specific, and it is, of course, subjective. But I think for me, for the majority of people, and my direct experience has shown me this, if we're hiring the right people, if we're hiring the people that are engaged and motivated, they're going to get the job done. And if the job isn't being done, then I think that's a consideration about how we can make people enjoy work more, how we can make the environment more motivating, rather than forcing people to work in environments that aren't necessarily right for them. And for me, it's just really subjective, and it's allowing people to make a choice. So You know, what is the best environment for you to work in?
Do you know, Kirsty, interesting what you're saying there, and Charlie, Kirsty saying allows people to make choice. And that choice can be, maybe they've actually got more money in their pocket because they're not paying commuter fees, and they're not paying higher prices in city centres for sandwiches and drinks and things. And maybe, Charlie, that economy that you're talking about, supporting the newsagents, supporting the coffee shops, maybe it moves locally.
Well, you say it moves locally, but you're going to find a situation that when people are in their house, if they're not going to be distracted, then they're not going to get out and about. They're not going to be doing them things. And I think you're going to create a culture. It's like the people on benefits, they're never going to want to come off it, and they're never going to want to go back into the workplace. And the longer this goes on, the longer people stay at home, the harder it's going to be to get back into the workplace. And believe me, the end result, you know, everybody keeps saying at the moment they're more productive working at home. Well, they're not going to come up with, no, of course I'm not more productive working at home. The place to go to work is back into the office, back into the workplace, motivate people. Everybody should be pulling their weight and trying to get the economy going. And there is certain people that obviously childcare or health issues or looking after elderly people, and if they can work from home, that's fine. But I still believe it's the minority of people that we should be doing that. If we do what Kirsty's suggesting, that we start getting more and more working from home, you're actually going to find that as I said, we've got a culture of people that will never. A lot of people. That's the biggest way to form more unemployment is working at home, because so many more businesses are going to go bust.
Well, talking about unemployment, Charlie, we're reading at your company, Pimlico Plumbers, you've lost 30 members of staff. You've come off the government furlough scheme. You made 10 of them redundant, and 10 had their contracts terminated. So is that you getting tough? And how did you make those choices? Why?
Look, you know, we can't sack anyone for being on furlough, and that's not what we've done. What we haven't got is a situation where a lot of people don't want to come back to work because they're comfortable at home. They've got all the reasons why, and they're happy to stay at home and stay on furlough. And you know, I believe that a lot of them have been milking the system, and I'm just sort of saying is that time's up. I think we need to put that behind us, and we need to get people back into the workplace. And look, I'm not going to pay people to sit at home. I'm not going to start paying their national insurance or their pension contributions. And I just feel it's the wrong way to go about it. And, you know, so we've just pulled the plug on it completely.
Kirsty, in defence of a lot of people, I mean, listen, we all know people who swing the lead. We all know people who play the system. I also know of people who do more than is expected of them because they are working at home. They just want to prove that they are more productive, and they're not going to be caught out, you know, suddenly sitting in the back garden reading a magazine or whatever it happens to be. But do you think we're looking at a change now in our working climate, in our existence from here on in? I mean, is working from home, is this, in a way, the future? Are some things never going to go back to the way they were?
I think for me, and I definitely agree with Charlie when we say we shouldn't be taking people's word on their productivity. We should be focused on output and output alone. You know, is the work getting done? Are the tasks getting completed? And if that's the case, then I don't care how people do it. If the work is getting done and it's getting done well, then sure, you know, watch some Netflix, take your kids to school, go to the gym, make sure you're physically and emotionally well, because then you're going to do the best work. And I think the key thing for me is it's not about completely, you know, burn all the offices. But for me, it really is about facilitating cultures where people can make a choice that's right for them, because people know. And of course, there might be some people that take advantage of it, but I don't believe we should be creating systems for what I believe to be a minority of people. And we should actually be rewarding the majority of people who are engaged, who want to get the job done, but don't want to have to make huge sacrifices to their personal and family lives in order to do so.
OK, got to leave it there, guys, because we've got work to do here in the office. Kirsty and Charlie, thank you both very, very much indeed.